How much time did you agonize over a sofa? The life expectancy, not so much. The lights, however, they're going to stick around. So we want to pay attention to our lighting plan, especially in the kitchen, because that's where it counts. The kitchen is visible, it's expensive, and it's really permanent. Of all the things you choose, that one's sticking around. So you want your countertops to shine. You want your cabinets to look their best. You want the colors to all look the same so they go together. A few weeks ago, I redesigned this subscriber's kitchen, and I am not about to let some unnamed, unqualified person throw a grid up in the ceiling of this kitchen, because that would diminish all the finishes she's gonna choose. The countertops won't shine, the cabinets won't be everything that they can be without a good lighting plan. That's what we're gonna do today. I'm gonna show you how to put together a lighting plan. The first thing you wanna do is evaluate the space. So you wanna take a look at your windows, your doors, your skylights, adjacent rooms or hallways that are bringing light into the kitchen. These are the plans I received that we reworked into cabinets along one wall, a 3-foot by to be determined, probably about 11 feet. And then this wall here is going to be open to allow for traffic. So there's 60 inches between the wall and the island. So chairs sitting here can pull out. I've got a big bay window here. I know I've got a doorway here. Over here, we've got the dining area with a big bay window as well. This direction here, we're getting some light from that sliding door and possibly from the front door over here. So we're getting light from other sources during the day. Now, once you have plans, you're ready to rock and roll. This was the first set. After making some changes, the client sent me back these drawings. And while they're very close, there's a few little tweaks we're gonna make. So she's gone back to the cabinet manufacturer. And while she's done that, we've got the plan pretty well solidified. So we wanna lay out the lights. And this goes for kitchens, bathrooms, bathroom vanities, where your mirrors are going, all of that built-ins around the house. Once you have plans, then you're ready to do a lighting plan. You want to determine where your wow is going to be. And every room's got to have one big wow. It shouldn't have more than one. You can have lots of little other wows, but one big wow. So when I look at these plans, it's the island. It's the island, and it's also some little touches around the room. So we want to highlight the range, we want to highlight the shelves over the sink, but the island is the big impact piece that's in the center of the dining room and the other space. We want to give that the value that it deserves.
We're not worthy!
Once you know what you want to highlight, what your wow is, then it's time to pick fixtures. And I mean the fixtures themselves, not recessed cans, not wafer lights, not any of that stuff. I'm talking about the actual fixtures. The reason I do this with clients is because it's easier. There's a whole lot less of them. They show, and it's so much fun. Recessed lights, not so much. But they also need to be a part of the plan. We want to do something fabulous over the island because we have stove, sink, and fridge on this wall. It's kind of busy, so this isn't really our focal point. Maybe there's a pretty hood, but this is going to be the wow, the island, where they work, where they sit, where they hang out with the family. With a 3 by 11 foot length, she'd do 2 very large or 3 medium size 8 to 12 inch diameter pendants over this island, or she could do a trestle light, a delicate, lovely light, and they suit this space very well. They will also keep it open enough so that the light, while being spectacular, doesn't block the view out to the backyard. When it comes to your kitchen lights, there's a lot of predictable spots where lights are going to go. Over the sink, over the range, in front of the fridge, in front of shelves that you want to see, over countertops where you want to work. And once you get those fixtures in place, you know that the room is lit. Whether or not you have recessed lights, you have light in the room to move from one space to the other, because your fixtures should really do the bulk of the work. There's tons of different kinds: sconces, pendants, semi-flush, flush mount. Did I forget anything? Under counter, under cabinet. There's lots of choices out there. So think about all of the places in your plan that you want to light up. Also think about the different times of day and different kinds of light that you might want to have during that time of day. Like for instance, I don't want super bright lights when I get up in the middle of the night and I just want to drink of water. With the dining area, we want to have a chandelier or a pendant of some kind. And on the other end of the kitchen, we've got to figure out what's going on back here, because this is really just seating and traffic flow. So this might be something simple, either a semi-flush in the same collection as the dining room so that they tie the room together, or to do simple hi-hats there because they haven't really defined how that space is going to be used, maybe a bench, mudroom areas. The semi-flush gives you a little bit more flexibility down the road, so that's the way I would go. You could do some recessed lights over the sink, but I'm proposing as an alternative, because she's got some open shelves, to do an articulating wall sconce so that you could aim it wherever you want it to go. It breaks up the need for so many recessed lights. It gives you a little bit more flexibility, and it's another opportunity to add some jewelry into the design. It may be too much jewelry, so that's something we have to consider. Options are always good. I almost forgot. In this plan, they have some open shelves proposed over the sink. First of all, they need to recess them a little bit. You want to give yourself a little bit more head space. You're not going to hit a 12-inch shelf, but you want to feel like you have more room to lean in and to do dishes. So that's the first thing that I forgot, that I got a reminder. Second of all, the open shelves over the sink give us a great opportunity to do some under cabinet lighting or under shelf lighting there, and to carry that across that whole back wall, so there'll be light on the countertop. Then it's time to add your recessed lights. Now, when you start your recess plan, you want to make sure that you have a list of all the fixtures you're putting in the room. Once we've placed the fixtures, and we know we've got either a trestle or 3 lights, a pendant light there, we've got general lighting, we've got task lighting over the island. Shadows are our friend. They add dimension and depth and interest. So we don't want to overexpose our kitchen. We want to add the appropriate amount of light on dimmers, because dimmers are our friend. So before we go throwing up a 9x9 grid of cans or pot lights in the ceiling, we want to make sure we know what the lumens are, what the output of the lights that we've already put into the room. It's not easy to figure out how many lights I need, but running them in a straight line and making a grid or following some of these crappy formulas online is not the way to do a lighting plan. You have your fixtures in place. Figure out the other places where you need light and put the light there. We can start with the hi-hats. And here, and we've got 3 pendants over the island, a chandelier, and a semi-flush or whatever might come of that space over there. Now, if the homeowner does not want to do some articulating sconces over the sink, what we can do is put a hi-hat outside of those shelves over the sink, right about there. Now let's start with the doorway. So we want to light this doorway, light the staircase, which you can't see, which is going to be over there. This doorway over here, probably going to want one in front of the fridge to highlight that. One over here to highlight whatever artwork is going on this wall. Now we don't really need to light this path. Like normally we could put one here, put another one here. It might be overkill. Maybe we center this one so it hits whatever artwork is going to be displayed on there. Also like to put one back over here, highlight the pantry cabinets. You can see that the space is starting to fill with light. I feel like there's a little bit of dead space going on here. The hood will have lights. We'll add a light over here. This may be overkill, just about 22 inches off, so it sits in just inside the countertop. Dun, da, da, da. 11 hi-hats and 5 fixtures. Some of the formulas include divide your ceiling light in half, and that's how far apart the light should be. It's not a bad place to start, but if you follow that all the way through your house, I'm going to land a plane in your living room. So take them with a grain of salt. They are meant as a guideline. Everybody's house is different. Everyone's needs are different. If my ceilings are 9 feet and my bulb has a spread of 40 degrees, it's going to cast light like this. When would I need the next one? A generic grid is going to blow out every finish that you've chosen, that you've agonized over. It's going to overexpose everything. It's going to look flat and dull. So you want to think about what's the lumens on those lights? What's the bulb spread? What kind of trim kit? Get involved in picking what kinds of recessed lights are going to go in your ceiling, because there's lots of different kinds. There's different trim kits. There's different bulb spreads. It matters. It matters in the way it looks. We all know what a bad plan looks like. We've been there. We've seen it. We do not want that in our house. So how do you place your lights? How far apart? How many? It depends. Unfortunately, I can't give you a formula that works. If I could, I'd say go look at Google and you'll be done. If you do that though, you will be very sorry. First of all, smaller is better, less is more, always, always, always when it comes to recessed lights. These are utilitarian lights. They should not show, they should not interrupt the beauty of your kitchen. How can I show you what I've learned in 30 years? Here's how. Think about geometry. I know, I hate math more than anyone out there. Maybe my daughter, but pretty much anyone out there. But I love geometry because it will tell you how many recessed lights you have, how many you need, your ceiling height, and your bulb spread. So the bulb, on the labels, it's going to tell you how wide the spread is. So there's a few degrees all the way up, 65. Your wafer lights where it's just going to wash out the entire. Back to our example. 8-foot ceiling, 40 degrees spread is going to be somewhere right about there. So if I follow that down to my floor on your plans, you can do this on your elevations. When would I need the next one? And that's how you figure out how far apart to space them. That is not how you figure out where they need to go for task lighting. When you place your recessed lights, you don't want to place them out here because that's where you stand. You want to bring the lights in to where you're working, to highlight the surface. You also don't want to bring them in so close that they're only highlighting the wall. So there's a balance. Think about how you're going to use your kitchen. So if I'm standing at the sink and I don't want to go for those sconces over the shelves, I might want to have some hi-hats that hit the countertop, not my head, countertop. Off that wall about 22 inches is usually a good measurement. That'll give you enough room for uppers and it won't have that glare on the uppers and still light the countertop and not the top of my head. So I want the light in as much as I can cheat it without casting a funny glow on the cabinetry. If I put those lights 24, 26 inches off that wall, it's going to hit the top of my head and behind me and not the surface where I'm working. That'll be in shadows, so that doesn't work. This may seem a little bing bang boom and whoa, wait a second, my space is different. Of course it is. I've been doing this a long time. I didn't just do this. I sat with these plans for a long time. I thought about how she was going to use them, how she might use them in the future, how she might want to change, how she might want to light it during different times of day. Spend some time with your lighting. It's that important. If you need more help with lighting, check out some more of my videos. Thanks so much for watching.